And welcome back to another video, but this is a serious video because this is something that's currently going on in the world today. We are reacting to the voting rights case that could set us back 60 years from Vox Media. Listen, if you don't watch Vox, you need to. Get some intelligence, get some knowledge in your fucking life. Listen, they taking away the votes, bruh. They taking away our ability to vote, how strong our vote is. It's not gonna be equal to the other people's vote. You know the other people. You know the other people. I'm telling y'all right now, bro, we need to do something. Let's get into the video.
The Voting Rights Act is not just a victory for Black Americans.
Matter of fact, cut the
In the
subtitles
words of
on.
Martin Luther King Jr., it enriches the lives of all Americans.
Some of you niggas need subtitles to watch some shit.
The Voting Rights Act of 1965 is a very big deal. It transformed America, marking the end of the Jim Crow era and effectively banning racial discrimination in elections.
When Lyndon Johnson came into office, he made Black civil rights a
Let me let y'all know something else. This nigga literally just overturned a whole ass vote in Virginia where the ballot was by people. The people filled out, they went to go out to fill out the ballots. That was the voice of the people. They chose what they chose. The nigga said, nah, we gonna throw them votes out and we gonna do it again. Like, what the fuck are we talking about?
priority.
It is to give all our people the right to choose their leaders. To deny this
Fuck
right,
this nigga.
I think, is to deny democracy itself.
When Congress passed the Voting Rights Act, I mean, they talked about it as, you know, being this crown jewel, right? Like that they had finally righted a wrong.
The stunning thing about the Voting Rights Act is just how fast it worked. So on the day it was signed, less than 7% of Black eligible voters in the state of Mississippi were registered to vote. Just 2 years later, that number was 60%.
But in the past few decades, conservative justices on the Supreme Court have taken major steps towards dismantling it.
The Supreme Court just finished hearing arguments in a major Republican challenge to the Voting Rights Act. This is a case that could gut key provisions that prohibit racial discrimination in redistricting.
He's talking about the Louisiana versus Calais case. At first glance, it might look like yet another scuffle over who gets their way when it comes to drawing electoral maps. But the truth is, there is a lot at stake here, and you should care about it. Because if the plaintiffs in this case get their way, the Voting Rights Act could be erased, and America could be transformed again, but this time, it would tear down more than half a century of voting rights progress.
The Supreme Court is now set to decide not just if Louisiana must keep 2 majority Black districts, but whether the Voting Rights Act can continue protecting minority representation nationwide.
So slap on your I voted stickers and get your notebooks out. Because this video is going to take a trip through history to explain how a shifting Supreme Court got us here and how this case in Louisiana could upend voting rights and political representation for a generation. This is The Docket, a Patreon-exclusive Vox series unpacking the Supreme Court cases that you need to know about. Let's go back in time to 1965. The world got Beatlemania, The Sound of Music was released, and it's also the year when the Voting Rights Act was passed. It was the culmination of years of effort and sacrifice by the civil rights movement. The VRA has been amended several times, but there are 2 key pillars to know, Section 2 and Section 5. Section 2 bans denying the right to vote on account of race, and was also amended to include the right to elect representatives of their choice. Section 5 said that certain jurisdictions with a history of racial discrimination had to get permission from the federal government if they wanted to change their voting laws. The aim was to prevent the states and jurisdictions on this map, mostly the South, from passing laws that would discriminate against Black voters.
All of these states are currently gerrymandering so that the Black vote is damn near diminished within the state right now, bro.
We're going to look at 3 major cases since then that are key to understanding Louisiana versus Calais. First stop.
Also, judges, they should definitely have a fucking term limit. What the fuck you mean these niggas could die a judge? What the, huh? I'm talking about like, oh, they could be 100 years old and still be the judge of whatever the fuck. What the fuck are we talking about?
1986. A case called Thornburg versus Jingles.
Now, I know they probably can't be 100, but you know what I mean, bro.
Built upon Section 2 and established rules governing when an alleged racial gerrymander violates the VRA.
The two most important factors under Jingles, one is whether a state has residential segregation. So, white people tend to live in one part of the state, black people tend to live in another part of the state. And also,
nigga, that's damn near that's all of them. That's all of them. That's all of them, nigga.
Also, whether it has racially polarized voting. So, voters of one race tend to vote for the Republican Party, voters of the other race tend to vote for the Democratic Party.
So how are they getting this gerrymandering off when all of these states have both of these things that he's talking about?
And the reason why the Supreme Court honed in on those two factors is that when you have...
Oh, because they just don't give a fuck. They just said, fuck the Constitution. I forgot. My fault. That's me, bro. I forgot. The Confederacy stupid as hell. That's me, bro.
Voters clustering together, and you also have racial polarization. That tends to produce two separate political communities where it's very easy for whichever racial group is in the majority to essentially cut the other group out of power by just drawing maps where they don't have any representation.
See what I'm
so
saying?
you need to draw additional black districts, additional Latino districts, additional districts to make sure that that minority group also has representation.
As a result of Jingles, the number of black representatives shot up thanks to the creation of more majority black districts. The second case, which came in 2013, was not so favorable to the vote.
Fuck that bald black bitch on the left. Fuck him. He could die, spit on his grave.
Voting Rights Act. One of the key pillars of protection, Section 5, was struck down in a case called Shelby County versus Holder in a 5-4 decision. The result was that states and jurisdictions that used to have racist voting laws passed a number of new voting restrictions that disproportionately affected minority voters.
We saw a flood after the Shelby decision, a flood of laws designed to make it hard just to show up at the polls.
The premise of the Shelby County majority opinion is, well, we don't have all this racism anymore that we used to have in 1965, so we don't need the law that stopped the racism that we used to have in 1965.
That left Section 2 as the remaining safeguard to protect the voice of minority voters. Fast forward to 2023. Wow. Another gerrymandering case, Allen versus Milligan, is heard by the Roberts Court, now made up of 6 Republican-appointed and 3 Democrat-appointed justices. With the Voting Rights Act on the line once again, the ruling in Milligan upheld essential parts of Section 2 and struck down a racially gerrymandered map in Alabama. Chief Justice Roberts and Justice Kavanaugh voted with the court's liberal minority.
Because this court, or at least its Republican majority, is so hostile to the Voting Rights Act, I think everyone thought they were going to strike down the anti-gerrymandering provisions, overrule Jingles, allow Alabama to have whatever maps Alabama wanted. And everyone, including me, was shocked when that didn't happen.
I wanted to take a second to thank our Patreon members. We're putting
shout out to members of the Patreon.
Now, this case has been kicking around for a few years before it made it to the Supreme Court, so let me catch you up. In 2022, Louisiana state legislators drew an electoral map called HB 1 that only included 1 majority black district out of 6 statewide.
Look how small that bitch is. Look how small it is. Look at bitch, is that a river? Look at how small this is compared to everything else, bro. The bitch, this is Iowa. That bitch look like Iowa. What the fuck are we talking about, bro? Are you serious? That's the little sliver of our voice compared to everyone else's. If that's how you need to be able to understand these maps, bro, that's the smaller one. That your voice is like, and niggas over here like, everybody around you, and these probably little Latinos, but they still bigger than us. We over here, That's if you want to interpret it, if that's how if it's easier for your brain to get it through your skull that this is fucked up and this is wrong and we need to do something about it, then shit. Yell away, nigga. Yell away.
HB 1 that only included 1 majority black district out of 6 statewide. Despite the
essentially it could be like this. If everybody here voted for Kamala Harris, then it's like, Kamala Harris, I voted for Kamala Harris. I voted for Trump. I want Trump. Kamala, but I want Trump. That's how this shit work, bro. Okay?
Included 1 majority black district out of 6 statewide. despite the 2020 census showing that 1/3 of the Louisiana population was black. Civil rights groups and community members sued, and it was decided that they needed a new map with 2 majority black districts to reflect the state's population. The new map, SB 8, passed in the state legislature in 2024, and it seemed like it was over. But a group of non-African American voters claimed SB 8 was unconstitutional.
How? Explain it.
Because
One made local, national news. I don't know where the fuck I saw. Oh, right here, local. One made national news when she protested the COVID-19 vaccine at her. Well, we know she's white. Another is a member of the Trumpettes, a group of women united in their ardent support for the president. A third is a retired grocery salesman who said he didn't remember signing up to be involved in a lawsuit. Nigga ain't even know his name was attached to some shit, and he over here, yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Am I gonna get paid? Like, what the fuck? What are we talking about, man? Right, this is the country we live in currently, bruh. My God, bruh. This is crazy. This is wild.
Race was the sole reason for the map. They argued...
Nigga say he ain't even remember signing up for this shit. He nigga said it was a petition, signed it. It just went out my head. I don't remember.
Because the map was created to fix discrimination against black voters, it was discriminating against white voters.
That is the dumbest argument ever in the history of anything ever.
This is Louisiana versus California.
And niggas actually sitting in the courtroom in they fucking robes with thinking they better than everybody because they looked at books and got a test right, talking about, yeah, I do think this is racist toward the white people. This is racist toward the white people. The black people are getting a voice. Why the fuck should they talk? Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
And the Calais case wound up being heard by 2 Trump judges. And those Trump judges
taking away voices
said that the
from the white people
that Louisiana drew were themselves unconstitutional.
After an initial oral argument in March 2025, the Supreme Court heard re-arguments 7 months later.
We will hear argument first this morning in Case 24-109, Louisiana versus Calais.
These arguments were framed around a single question: whether the state's intentional creation of a second majority-minority congressional district violates the 14th or 15th Amendments to the U.S. Constitution.
This court's cases, in a variety of contexts, have said that race-based remedies are permissible for a period of time, sometimes for a long period of time, decades in some cases, but that they should not be indefinite and should have an endpoint.
No.
It's going above and beyond what the 15th Amendment requires of its own force, but Congress has actually chosen the Voting Rights Act as a remedy. Does that affect the question of whether it can go on indefinitely or not?
I had 2 takeaways from the argument in Calais. One is that the Republican justices are absolutely determined to eliminate the Voting Rights Act racial gerrymandering safeguards. The other thing is that they have no idea how to do it. They couldn't agree on a rationale for why they should do it. They sort of started with the outcome.
Bitch ass bald and fuck. I wish I could smack the taste out this nigga mouth.
They wanted, and then were tossing out different theories they could use to get to that outcome.
I find it particularly cruel to use 2 amendments that were created to protect Black and other communities of color.
To then turn
women,
around and say it's racist to white people.
To use those 2 amendments to then take away voice and rights from the very people they were created to protect.
In many ways, the Voting Rights Act has already been gutted and no longer carries the same protections it once had. This case could be its last gasp.
Now, our governor, our attorney general, and our legislature, who are all Republicanly controlled, are saying that it was a mistake. It was a mistake to create a fair map. It was a mistake to give voice to an opportunity for Black voters to be able to elect a candidate of choice, to have true representation.
You know, I've always viewed the Voting Rights Act as like a sacred text. You know, this is the law that finally made the United States into a liberal democracy where everyone had an equal, or at least every citizen had an equal say in who would govern them. But the law only works if you can trust the federal government to to want to implement this law.
If the court decides to strike down Section 2, it would be ruling that any use of race in districting, even if it was meant to remedy racial discrimination in the first place, is illegal.
In the likely event that the Supreme Court overrules Jingles and eliminates the Voting Rights Act's protections against racial gerrymandering,
the repercussions of that would be horrible, because then they would try to extend that to other things that were made to help minorities out. And yeah, I mean, shit, if y'all want a civil war, we can have one. I don't really give a fuck, bro. At this point, bro, that's what y'all want. Y'all really want a civil war. Y'all want to be able to use all the military's might and power against the people that you don't like just because of the color of their skin, bro. That shit is crazy to me, bro.
The immediate effects could be pretty catastrophic, both for black representation and for Democrats.
Some reports suggest that as many as 19 House seats could be flipped Republican with redrawn district maps.
Look at the voice we have right now. Not even a lot. Look at what it's gonna switch to, though. I guarantee you he gonna switch it, and then this shit gonna look, boy.
And it's not just that.
Gangland. What the fuck? You bet not be a Crip. You bet not be a Crip. Fuck you mean? What the fuck is this? What is this? Do you know what our voice sounds like with this map? Barely anything. Nigga, we a mouse. We a mouse surrounded by wolves.
House of Representatives.
This is bigger than just...
The wolves don't even want to eat us. They just want to torture us and have fun. We're a toy. We're a toy.
One congressional seat in the state of Louisiana. We could see a sweeping change that would set us back 60 years.
What happens next with the Voting Rights Act won't be clear until the Supreme Court makes a ruling on the case, which should arrive just in time to set the stage for the 2026 midterm elections. It might very well usher in a renewed fight over voting rights in America in the 21st century.
It cannot be minimized, the fact that people died for Black voters to have voice and opportunity and representation. I think you absolutely will see, Black voters mobilizing across this country. There's going to be a reckoning.
Told you, bro. They want a civil war with us, and if you want to have one, then I guess we can have one. Because the Second Amendment apply to everybody too. What you gonna do? Take that away? Try to take the guns away. We saying the same shit the white folks say. Try to take my gun. But anyway, bro, listen. Like I said, this is a serious video. All right. Serious video. We all need to do something, bro. I don't know what we're gonna do, but we need to do something, because all my mind is on right now is essentially violence. That is the only way these niggas gonna stop, because they taking away the voting shit by way of gerrymander. So like, we already kind of fucked on that front if they get all that through, because then the voice is like this already, but then it's gonna be minimalized, and then we have none. So then what do we do? Because we're supposed to vote in the people we want, right? Nah, we got to go kill. Gotta end their lives, bro, because they want to fuck around and try to end ours, try to be in them slave times again. We ain't gonna let this shit happen, bro. But listen, if you like the video, subscribe if you fuck with the vibe. Again, this is a serious issue. These niggas already talking about trying to get this nigga to a third term. What the fuck are we gonna do, chat? We gotta do something. We gotta mobilize.